GEO, AEO, all these different things to get ranked in different AI searches. We're not reinventing the wheel. It actually builds on good SEO.
Hey guys, Christian Jones here, CEO of TaxProMarketer with my colleague Noah Jenks. Noah, say hello.
Hey, good to see you guys today.
We're going to talk about the elephant in the room for the last 6 to 8 months, maybe longer, and that's AI. And we're specifically going to talk about it as marketers for the tax, accounting, CPA, bookkeeping professionals that we serve. So the angle we're going to take with AI is how it can be used as a tool to help your business grow and get found by real leads that are using these new platforms to try and find you. So that's the content today. Again, just to kind of summarize, my perception of AI in the tax and accounting space is obviously it's getting a lot of press, and it's mainly about, let's call it production, serving clients, new software stacks, efficiency with simple 1040s and bookkeeping tasks and so on and so forth. There's so many use cases for production-oriented uses of AI, efficiency in your task management for you and your team. And I love that. And I think that's great. And I will simply tell you that from a broader perspective, AI is a massive, massive new tool in the marketing landscape as well, which is to say that your leads are finding out who they're going to work with in new ways that, let's say that the level of disruption that AI search, large language models, LLMs, like ChatGPT or Grok or Perplexity or Claude or Gemini, whatever it is you're using or your clients are using for AI searches, this is maybe the most disruptive moment in search from a marketing perspective in 20 years, easily. And it's new. It's still developing. It's very new. And it's dynamic. And it's something that not many people that are CPAs or tax preparers or bookkeepers or accountants, tax resolution specialists, and so on and so forth, CFO types, whatever it is you may be doing, very few people are thinking about AI from a search marketing standpoint. It's all about internal production use cases, new software, new efficiencies, and I think that's really great. But today is going to try and take the marketing angle and give you guys some clues as to how you can maybe structure your online ecosystem in such a way to get found, because it's happening whether you want it to or not. People are searching using ChatGPT or Gemini or Claude or whatever, and they're asking the same question they've asked Google before, just a direct Google search, right? So like historically, they would say best tax preparation service in my area, best CPA, top CPA, top accountant, top bookkeeper. There's a variety of search phrases, but we would go to Google, I would do a search, and that search would give me a few things. It would show me ads. It would show me a map with 3 businesses, and then it would show me a bunch of website links. We've all seen that type of search result from Google for decades now. Enter AI to the chat. It's disrupting how things show up on Google, and obviously people are using ChatGPT natively to try and find options, and we are noticing for our clients that are, working with us, that they're starting to get somewhat consistent lead flow from these new sources. And we want to try and help you understand how to make that the reality for your firm. So again, if you want to grow, if you're willing to be innovative, if you're willing to kind of, if you want to be on the knife's edge of what's new, and if you're already thinking about AI from a task management, production management, efficiency standpoint for your business in terms of how you serve your clients, might I recommend that you also think about it as it relates to how your business gets found by your ideal client. That's what we want to kind of hit today. Noah, before we dive in, just anecdotally with what you're hearing from our clients, with your own perspective, what are you seeing?
So, we all know AI is changing everything right now, Christian, and you're right that in the tax and accounting industry, the big buzz is, well, how do I automate my systems? How do I not become obsolete? There's something we could talk about for a while. There is a very serious, honestly, threat in the tax and accounting industry of AI taking over a lot of things that accountants have historically done. I think it's when you're dealing with, anything that can be automated, AI has the potential of stepping in, but businesses aren't talking about how we can utilize AI to actually grow your business. And I would even throw in there, Christian, that most tax and accounting firms aren't even doing traditional SEO marketing at this point. And now there's a whole nother thing, and we're going to get into this a little bit, that AI ranking, GEO, generative engine optimization, AEO, answer engine optimization, all these different things to get ranked in different AI searches. We're not reinventing the wheel. It actually builds on good SEO. So foundationally, if you're watching this and hearing us and you're like, well, hold on, like, I don't even have SEO yet. Well, okay, you need to get that part figured out before you're going to rank in this other part, because you're not going to rank over here in these AI searches in ChatGPT. You're not going to rank in that if you don't even have your credibility built out. If you don't have your structure, your foundation of your online presence, you're not just going to snap your fingers and rank over here. But the reality is a growing number of the population is starting to turn their attention to their AI platform of choice. Again, ChatGPT,
Yes.
Gemini, Grok, whatever it is, I don't care which one it is, more and more people are starting to go there because of how we interact with it. Google is traditionally a keyword-based search engine. Best CPA near me. But what I love about AI is it's an answer. We engage with it with query. We ask it questions. I'll give you a great example. Like if we want something and we need to figure something out, I've got a fun little MG sports car, Christian, you know that. And I had an issue with it. I am not a mechanic. I don't know how to work on these. So what did I do? I Googled what happened to my 1973 MG. It's a beautiful car, so fun to drive. But I Googled, this is what's happening. This is the sound that it's making. Walk me through this. And guess what? It gave me literally step by step how to fix this thing.
Wow.
It was incredible. It was incredible. But that's what we're doing. And people, instead of saying best CPA near me, businesses are now going, I own a business. I have 15 employees. I have X amount of gross revenue, and I am really sick and tired of doing my bookkeeping myself. I need an in-house accountant. Who are some good people that I could call, or what are some good suggestions you have? And they're asking those questions. We're going to talk about how do you get seen in that search? Because that's really the why behind the what. It's not, are you ranking? It's how can you rank? Because my guess is most people are not ranking in this. And if you are, it probably is a little bit of luck.
Right. Yeah, well said. Let's get into it. So I want to start by addressing something that we've hit for years and is more relevant now than ever. It's becoming more and more relevant the more that AI searches and ChatGPT platforms, the large language models of the world, get picked up more and more by people. The tax and accounting space is littered with websites that are not going to perform well in this coming evolutionary change within marketing. They're not. And they're not because they're all the same. They are all exactly the same. There's a couple of cost-effective, I guess that's a relative term. Some of them are getting more expensive, but just historically, kind of cheap, compliance-oriented. I just need to have a website, so I'm going to get compliant and pay for one that costs anywhere from $100 to $500 a month or so, just to give you a ballpark. Everyone in the tax and accounting space, by and large, has the same website. Why does that matter related to ChatGPT? What ChatGPT is serving up to their end users in terms of who they're going to list, it's based on the authority and the trust that your content creates. So again, like Noah said earlier, people are asking questions of ChatGPT and Gemini and Claude and so on and so forth. They're asking questions that then these large language models, these AI resources, are culling and pulling the internet in a unique way, a different way than Google does, but they're providing longer form answers with more context. That's more personable, and it's like first person friend that's offering you a recommendation. It's different than Google with keywords and search and your website link. Like it's ChatGPT kind of talking you through, like Noah said, hey, I've got a business that's this size and has these complexities. And then as best ChatGPT can, they're looking at every available option and saying, I think this is the right person to work with. How do they decide that?
Mm-hmm.
The content on your website, by and large, not exclusively. It is a very large language model. There's a lot of language in this large language model. There's a lot of things that's distilling and factoring in to try and decide who the best one is. But suffice to say, 99% of you that are watching this have a website that is not designed to succeed
Mm-hmm.
because you have static, standard, boilerplate copy that is not going to make the algorithm think you're great. It's just not. It's
Honest
not going to
truth.
make them happy.
It's just the honest truth behind it, Christian. But the other part to that is Google doesn't actually know who the best business is. Google has no idea. Google doesn't know the services you provide your company or you provide for your clients. It doesn't know if you're reputable or if you're a con artist. Like Google doesn't know anything. The algorithms, like AI search, it doesn't know anything. It knows what it's told. And it knows that based on how you have this built out, how your keywords are built out, how your website's built out, how your reviews, your reputation, your credibility. This is all, again, we're trying to focus on AI stuff, but you can't talk about AI ranking without talking about the fundamental and foundation of good marketing. Because without good marketing, without a good website, without good content, without good reviews, without all of these different things, AI is a moot point. It's not going to really matter because you're not going to rank there if you don't have this other thing. But even if you do have this thing over here, if it's not built correctly, it's not going to rank you over in AI.
Right. That's well said. Let's look at an example real quick and then talk about how to get there and what you need to do. So here's an example. I did a search in ChatGPT for best accountant in Auburn, Washington. And here's what ChatGPT pulled in. So it looked at reviews and it looked at listings for these businesses to create trust and authority. And I want to point out some of what it kind of pulled in. So choice number 1, highly rated CPA with a strong local reputation for both personal and business tax prep and planning. Clients consistently note responsive service and solid tax savings. So you're seeing content from the reviews being pulled in. Here's Dominant Consulting. This is a client of ours. Popular choice for tax prep, IRS notice response, year-round strategic tax planning. Very good reviews for clarity and proactive communication. But I want to point this out. Here's a source that it used, and this is a directory site. Top Tax HQ, not an unpopular or unfamiliar directory site for the tax and accounting space. It's not the only one, it's just one. And it is just a pretty straightforward. Let me go back to the search page that I was looking at before. It's just this, that someone on Best Accountants in Auburn, Washington. So here's the title of this page. They got listed here, which again, we got this done for our client, helped them with it. And because of this title and then this format, ChatGPT pulled this in for all of the top options. Now, I'm not saying stop what you're doing and go to Top Tax HQ because this doesn't always show up as the authoritative listing in our space. But you can see here in Auburn, Washington, it does. But here's some other listings or directory sites that are relevant. So another top 10 list, right? Another, page that is titled well, Best Auburn Accounting Firms. They are pulling in content from these pages that seem to suggest, I asked for the best accountant in this area. Well, Christian, here's what we got. We pulled this in. Now, like Noah said, are these actually the best options? I don't know. I like our guy a lot. I think he's really smart. I'm sure these people are competent, but there's a lot of people that are very, very skilled accountants, tax preparers, bookkeepers, CPAs that will never get recommended because they haven't built out their website or their ecosystem in such a way to suggest to ChatGPT that they are worth showing. That's just not what's happening. And not to mention, this is just one new AI platform. There's others. Let's look at an actual Google search. So I did a search for who is the best accountant in St. Louis on Google. So let's scroll down here. Here's ads, right? So these are local service ads, and we could view more ads. I can scroll down here and here's this map. You've seen this before. It's Google pages with reviews. And then down here is like top 10 list on Yelp. Here's some discussion in forums. Here's websites. Yeah, all this stuff is familiar. Let's look at the thing that's not familiar. This is new in the last year. This AI overview section. This just showed up on our doorstep in 2025, and everyone's like, what do we do with this? Mm-hmm. Google is not going to lose this game in AI, which is maybe a conversation for another day. But this top-rated accounting firms in St. Louis include, A, B, C. They're recognized for their competitive or comprehensive services. For specialized or smaller needs, top picks include, option A, option B, etc. And then it gives a further breakdown. And now where's this all coming from? Look at the sources. The sources are over here. Again, best St. Louis accounting firms from Clearly Rated or Pooley. Their page has best bookkeepers in St. Louis. Dunn CPA has a clear title as well, affordable accounting services in St. Louis. And so what they did on their website in terms of feeding that page information that the AI overview is picking up, well, that's kind of the game, right? And so here, let's talk about, let me stop sharing my screen for a second. Here's some of the principles of how to play this game. Let's get tactical now. Hopefully we've got you interested. Getting tactical is actually pretty simple. There is something to be said of getting on the right directory, getting on the right listing, right? But the game that you need to play on your website is EAT. Experience, expertise, authority, and trust, which is to say you need to have a content-rich website that is designed to speak to humans. Mm-hmm. We're talking about robots and AI, but the content on your website has to answer questions for humans. Experience, expertise, authority, and trust. It might sound kind of highfalutin, like what does that actually mean? That's like marketing speak. I have no idea what that means. It means writing content around questions and problems that people are really experiencing. Okay? So let me show you an example of what it's not. And I don't want to pick on this person. I'm sorry if you ever watch this and, we're dunking on you. This is not just a you problem if this is you. This is every site that I come across for our clients. And Noah, you could say the same. Yeah. Here's the Income Tax Center and tax services. I can click this button and this is all my pages that just tell you, doing your own taxes can be hard. And when you come with us, we're going to be accurate and complete. This isn't answering really any questions. This is like from 15 years ago in terms of best practices in digital marketing. Because it's so generic. It's so vanilla. It's not actually helping the AI overlords or search gods that be. It's not helping them understand what are the problems that we're going to deal with for people that have the need to get tax preparation from us, whether it's, complications around this versus that, owning a business or not, rental properties or not. There's a lot of fodder there to talk about. You guys deal with very nuanced clients. You are experts in those nuanced clients, right? People that do own real estate, people that do own businesses, people that do have kids and the options that, are before you for good tax deductions or savings or, just good tax planning. There's so much good content because guess what? The tax code is massively complicated and there's so much nuance to it. And that's where a good tax preparer who's really skilled and gifted at serving clients can translate their experience and their expertise into trustworthy content that produces authority. You see what I did there? I'm taking real world case studies of your clients and saying, we've got to write about that. We've got to write about what you're good at and how that impacts your real clients and how that could help other people. Because your content needs to be written for humans, not by a churn and burn website agency. That's not going to cut it. The standard boilerplate content of, I'm a tax preparer and I've got bookkeeping services and click here for me to fix your mess. It's not enough because it's so lost in the noise of the internet. It's the same thing.
And Krishna, if I can jump in, this feeds into a bigger topic that is becoming a growing issue for actually getting people to visit your website, because in this day and age, the entire mentality and psychology of how we do search is changing. And it's really crazy if you think how much it's changed in the last 12 months, because almost as a society, we almost don't even want to go down the rabbit hole and look and like do the research anymore. We just want AI to do the research for us. And so
Mm-hmm.
it's created this new ecosystem called zero-click search, which is kind of
Mm.
wild, because to what Christian showed earlier, traditionally, we always used to have the website section, Google Maps section, or I'm sorry, advertising, Google Maps section, website section. Okay, so like historically, that's what always showed up. And then about 12 months ago, Gemini decided to just weasel its way in there, and now it does all of it. And so some of you may be saying, well, but no, Krishna, I don't use ChatGPT. I don't use any of this stuff. Well, I would put a lot of money that you use Google, because over 90% of the US population knows, uses, and trusts Google. Google has become a verb in our society. It is
Right.
something that we do. And so whether you think you are or are not engaged in AI, whether you think your ideal client is or is not utilizing AI, I would say with as close to a promise as I can, they are, because they're using this. And we have started using the AI overview. Oh, but no, I don't go straight to ChatGPT. I don't use Perplex. I don't care. You are using it because Google is forcing you to use it. And it's creating this ecosystem called zero-click search. So it's not uncommon to see maybe ads get less clicks. Your website gets less clicks because
Right.
people are only scrolling to that Gemini search. So what do you need to do to rank in that Gemini search? You need to answer questions. You need
Mm-hmm.
to have a strong reputation. You need to be the trusted authority. You are not going to get that with boilerplate, cheap, and I say that both in terms of cost and quality. You're not going to get that with cheap, save a couple of bucks marketing. And I'm not saying you have to spend $50,000 on marketing to get this to work. You just have to do it correctly. What if somebody did a search in Google, or they did a search in ChatGPT or whatever, and they said, what are the tax implications of hiring my child? That's a search. I promise you, that's a
Mm-hmm.
thing people are asking. I've asked myself that question, because I have 4 kids, and I want to train them up. I want to raise my kids to have a strong financial acumen and be smart and know how to invest at a young age. It's something that's important to me. I care about this stuff, but I'm not a tax
Right.
professional. I don't know
Right.
all the ins and outs. I know enough about taxes to be slightly dangerous, but also I know enough that I don't want to do it myself. That's why I gladly pay my
Right.
CPA whatever the heck he wants to charge me every year, because I don't want to know the tax code. I don't want to know how it changes. I don't want to know how crypto
Yeah.
affects it. Like, I don't want to know. I want my tax professional to know that, but I do want to know, well, but what if I were to hire my child? What if I have a business and I hire my child? What are the tax implications? Well, wouldn't you want to show up as a trusted authority for that search? The way you're going to show up in a search like that has to do with the content. It has to
Right.
do with the blog posting. It has to do with what's written. It has to do with FAQ pages on your website. It has to do with all of that. And most of your
Right.
website, if it's a cookie cutter boilerplate website where it's the same content as 10,000 other CPAs in America, guess what? You're not going to rank. You're
Yep.
not going to show up.
Yep. Well said. And here's a Gemini search just to reiterate that. So we've done ChatGPT, we've done an AEO answer, so answer engine optimization on a Google search. That's what we just looked at here. But now I want to show you just a Gemini direct search just to continue to emphasize the point that the content on your website and the trust you build on the internet is what's ruling the day. So you
Mm-hmm.
see here, she's a veteran CPA. Where do you think that came from? That's from her site. But this, she got an award, right? So that's building authority and credibility. And now we have a third point about her. She's praised for her puzzle solving approach to personal tax planning. Let's go on to this next option. Again, we're looking in St. Louis for CPA recommendations. Expats and international tax. Where does that come from? Her website. There it is. She's one of the few local specialists in foreign tax advisory and cross-border compliance. Is that true? That's what she's saying on her website. Her net promoter score, her NPS score, is exceptionally high. She's a go-to for anyone with income from outside of the U.S. Where's that coming from? Her website.
Let me
Okay.
make a comment about that website, about that content too. Christian, one-off content doesn't cut it. Oh, but no, Christian, I have this XYZ company blog to my website once a month. Or maybe you're writing blogs. You shouldn't be. You should not be writing blogs for your website. You should have
Right.
someone who really knows what they're doing writing the content for your website. But
Right.
if you're saying, well, I do this once a month, that doesn't cut it.
No.
One-off content is not going to do it. It wants
No.
trusted, relevant, optimized, up-to-date information. And if it's not written with that EEAT acronym we talked about before, again, that is critical in this. Expertise, experience, authoritative, trustworthy. If you're not writing with that in mind, it's not are you blogging, it's not are you posting to social media, it's not are you doing that, it's what's the strategy in how you are doing it. Otherwise, you're spinning your tires in the mud.
That's super well said. Needs to be for those that want to excel and take advantage of this environment. It's not, again, whether you are or aren't. Let's assume you are. It's the way in which you do it. So newsletters, broad-based topics that go to your blog that 10,000 other websites are getting from your agency or your website company, that ain't it. But also, do you have time to write this content? Probably not. Will it matter a lot? Yes, it will. And so that's the thing that we do for our customers. And I won't turn this into a sales pitch now, but I just want to say we're writing authoritative, relevant, long-form blog posts that are answering questions every week. And we're structuring that content in a way to feed the AI, especially with topics and content that when people search for, we're there. Just like I showed you in St. Louis with that one group. They have an expat international tax page. Therefore, they're showing up for that. They're pulling that in because it's content rich. It communicates experience, expertise, authority, and trust. It's not impossible to do. It just takes time. And this, again, is where things are going. It's going away from traditional search. We're in this hybrid place where there are still Google pay-per-click ads and there is still a map section with 3 businesses, as we've looked at, and that is not irrelevant. It is still probably the largest amount of search. But you have this upstart AI environment that is just harping on how authoritative are you on your website. It's not just the same old from a couple of years ago in terms of how you show up to this audience on these AI, ChatGPT, Gemini, Claude platforms. You have to get better at writing content because that is what these large language models are pulling in.
Yeah. And a lot of it, Christian, is it being optimized for conversational content?
Yes.
So historically, it was tax planning strategies, and that's kind of what you showed before. It's like that was very antiquated, old school model. Income tax strategies were the best, blah, blah, and like nobody cares. Sorry, bluntly, nobody cares of you telling them that you're the best. They don't believe it. They don't trust it. Give proof. Get good Google reviews from your clients. That will show. You know, Christian, I was in education for years. I was a teacher, principal, loved it. I always used to say, show, don't tell. Tell me what, like in your writing, like don't just tell me, like show me, give examples, give details, explain how that works. So instead of saying as a title for a blog, tax planning strategies 2025, no, maybe you put something in where you have a question. How can I lower my taxes if I made over $200,000 this year? And then that piece of content explains. It explains how to actually do that.
Mm-hmm.
But if someone does a Google search, a ChatGPT search like that, how can I lower my taxes? That's something people care about. And if your website answers that question, you will rank. Now, are they necessarily going to click directly to your website? Well, maybe not. I can't control what somebody does on the other side of a screen. But if you show up as a trusted authority, that's going to position you. We talk a lot about this concept of digital dominance. That's been a core function of TaxProMarketer since its inception. And there's not, Christian, you know, you and I always use the old adage, there's not one way to get seen by 100 clients, prospects. There's 100 ways to get seen by one prospect. And so traditionally that was, you know, show up in, you know, Yelp and Bing and Apple and all these places. Well, now it expands. Now you should be showing up at Chat. You should be showing up in Perplexity. You should be showing up at all of these other ones. But if you're not answering relative questions, again, you're probably not going to show up.
Yeah, and here's a great example. So I did that exact search just to illustrate the point. How can I lower my taxes if I made over 200K? And you've got this whole list of options and ideas. And again, this is how people are searching. And then you can see the sources. And this is coming from a blog, of many sources. But you have this local one. I love this one. Fidelity, AARP, Principal. You got a lot of usual suspects here in terms of just large financial institutions. But you've got this group, Utah Tax and Accounting. Great job, guys. I mean, this is a perfect example, and let's look at their page. It is a 28-minute audio clip with well-structured content. So here's a summary at the top, and then there's relational, human-oriented, well-formatted. You see headers here. You see lots of things, images that are well SEO'd. All of that is here, and then you come all the way down, and here's like the section. No, where is it? It's down here. Oh, yeah. So this is where the AI directed me. It directed me right here. So this was what that search on Gemini was pulling in from this page. And it's this specific section that talks about contribution limits for different types of retirement vehicles and accounts. And so my pointing this out is like, this is long. Look how long this is. And most of the time people will tell me, whether it's about emails or blogs, my clients aren't going to read that. Mm-hmm. I would challenge that notion, and then I would point out to things like this, that long-form content is alive and well. And good job, Carter Green, on writing such a good long-form article. You're pulling into Gemini for a national search, 200,000 or, more owners on saving money. That is building the authority and trust that now he's got a citation in Gemini. And what's that going to do for his business and their business overall? It's not bad. I'll tell you that. It's not bad. But it's answering questions and providing long-form content and owning a niche. Own a niche. Own the area that you dominate in, whether it's real estate or construction or dentists or nurses, or if you're a generalist, talk about case studies and problems. Here's we'll leave them anonymous, but here's the story about this couple that came in, and here was the situation. They hadn't had their taxes filed in a few years. They owed the IRS money. They had a business that was kind of, behind on the books, and, just tell stories and then be authoritative on, I did these 7 things to help this family that was in this situation. Because ChatGPT and Gemini will pull that in and make that like, hey, you're asking this question that you have a family and you're this age and you've got this problem and you're looking for an answer. Well, guess what? I've got the exact post for you. I've got the exact post to help you solve this problem. That is 100% what's happening here. And so again, the vanilla, standard, default content that I have a service, I do bookkeeping, we're innovating, we are changing, we are adapting to this. We've already done it. We're already writing blogs and emails for our clients this way, and it's getting consumed. It's getting consumed via blog, and I this is mostly an AI thing, but I would be remiss to not show you some email stuff too. I would be remiss to not show you, and I'm trying to pull it up here real quick. There we go. This is over the last 90 days. Our emails are long form pieces that we write that become blogs. And so there's some, synergy between what we produce via email and blog. But here is, in the last 90 days, let's just focus on this. Our email open rates, the lowest one is 35%. The highest is 50% open rate. Mm-hmm. A 50% open rate for all of our clients sending individual tax, strategy notes, or small business accounting and bookkeeping strategy notes, or tax resolution strategy notes, etc. 40 to 50% for all of our clients over the last 90 days. You're seeing here 400,000 emails, 150,000 emails, 13,000 emails, etc., etc. The idea here that I'm trying to communicate is that people want to trust you. And in the tax and accounting space, you are the antidote to so much fear that a general American business owner or general American tax, some of these their taxes done has. And yes, people are using TurboTax and H&R Block and Liberty Tax and Jackson Hewitt and whatever the new software may be. And AI is a threat to the tax preparation space for sure. Automation is becoming easier, but I will submit to you that it is still 1,000% true that people want to work with a human they can trust as an advisor. So the groups that can position themselves as advisory, even if you're just a tax preparer, talking about the trust, the experience, the authority, the expertise, and translating that into stuff on your website, your blogs, your emails, your social content, is going to lead you to show up in front of a market that no one is thinking about right now. How do I get in front of people who are getting on AI? It is not going to decrease. I think the stats are that by 2027 or 2028, the majority of searches will be AI driven. They're not there yet, but over 50% by 2027, or maybe it's 2028, the numbers change. We're going to see AI be the dominant force in terms of where people are going to search. It's coming. And if you want to keep growing your business, you, to your own detriment, would neglect how these AI models are looking for who the best one will be named to be, right? So any of these searches, who's going to show up? You should be asking that question and fixing the problems on your site. Like we've shown you some great examples today. We've shown you some examples of our clients, some other people that are not our clients, just to highlight people that are doing good work in our industry. But it takes time. This takes time. And you have to run a business. You have to hire and train staff. You have to serve your clients. You have to decide what softwares you're going to use. And it is a massively important thing, but this is a great thing to delegate. You need to delegate to someone the content marketing for your business, which is your website. It is, getting reviews. It is social media. It's blogs. It's email. It's all of it. It's your service pages on your site. It's your homepage. It's your FAQ pages. This stuff can be done by good marketing, by a good marketer. It doesn't have to be done by you. I don't think you have space to do this. I, in fact, know that you do not. But you want to grow. And so you're saying, Christian, how do I show up with AI? How do I do this stuff? It's everything we've talked about for the last 40 minutes. It's your website and the content and the authority and the trust you communicate. And it's letting go of cheap is the only thing that matters with your marketing spend. I would ask you a question if you work with businesses and you're running their books. What do the most successful businesses that you work with and you do their books for, what do they have in common if they're growing? There's a few things that I think you would probably say, but one thing is that they invest in good marketing and advertising. And those channels may be different depending on the business. But what about the businesses that are stagnant and static and not growing? Their books are going to look like they're afraid. They're not investing in marketing. And you see this and look at the reports for these businesses every year that are receding in revenue and profitability and growth. They don't want to invest to actually grow. They're afraid. I don't want you to be that way. And you don't have to invest in everything all at once, but you should invest in things that are clearly not going anywhere. Your website's always going to be important. Getting reviews is always going to be important. Social media is not going anywhere. And how you build out your website with this mode of operating and writing is not going anywhere. You've got to let loose the idea that the only thing that matters with marketing is saving money. You've grown organically through referrals in your warm network. I know that that's true for all of you, by and large. Very, very few people that Noah and I talk to have grown because of marketing. You've grown because you have a good name and you're trustworthy and your name gets passed around. That may be enough for some of you. But if you want to grow and you have goals and you want to sell your practice and triple your revenue in the coming 3 to 5 years and be more profitable, and yes, growth does bring new challenges, but these are the types of things that a marketing agency that says performance is the first thing we think about, not saving cost. And I'm not going to tell you that we're, $50,000 a month. We're not. We work with lots of people. But the idea is it has to be done intentionally to try and actually help you grow and not just be checking boxes. Marketing should not be about compliance. I just did the thing. I just posted stuff to social media. I have emails, Christian. It's the same thing you're talking about, right? I have a website, Christian. Isn't that enough? No, it's not. Because how you are doing those things is what makes the difference. And if you want to grow and you're not growing, you need to look at where you're spending money on marketing or the fact that you're not. and just be honest with yourself and be brave and have courage and invest in your own business from the profit and the proceeds that you're getting. You've got to invest in growth.
Mhm.
It sounds obvious, but it is, and it's not what most people do. You've got to invest in your own growth, and it doesn't have to be with us. But I'd like to say that we are quite good at being at the bleeding edge of what is innovative and useful in the tax and accounting space. We've been around for 2 decades. We write in the ways that we've described today. We'll do it all for you so that you don't have to spend hours writing good content. We'll handle it for you because we write with this orientation. Noah, what did we miss? Or is there anything else you want to add before we let these people go?
No, I mean, the honest truth is someone is going to like, we know that. It's kind of like it's like a no duh statement. Someone is going to rank on page 1 and someone is going to get the business that people are searching for. Why shouldn't it be your firm? If you offer the service, well, why shouldn't you be the one doing that? But the reality is, and this is just the honest truth, most firms in America don't rank. And there's a lot of reasons behind that. But if you think that AI search is going anywhere, I would highly encourage you to take your head out of the sand. Because if anything, it is just doubling down on how fast everything we are going to be doing is going to be in AI search. And so if you don't even have the SEO principles built out right now, you're already behind the curve. It's not too late. Like, you can still get that built out, but it is going to AI. You do need to rank in AI. And some of you are like, I don't want any more clients. Great. Don't call me. That's fine.
Yeah.
That's fine.
Okay.
Don't call me. Like, if you're just like, I don't want more clients, great. We work with a very small select group of clients who legitimately want to grow and scale. But I can tell you that when this is done correctly, it does work. I've got Craig out in Phoenix. He got 7 leads in the last 2 weeks from ChatGPT. I've got Mark out in Jacksonville, Florida. He got 5 leads in the last couple of weeks from AI. Guys, we talk to our clients. We're meeting monthly with our clients to track this stuff. We track the data. We track the KPIs. We track the growth. We track the conversion rate. We track this stuff because we want to make sure it's actually working.
Yeah.
That's how we can ensure that our clients get an ROI for what they pay for. If your marketing is not producing actively generated leads, then you don't have marketing. You have a digital business card. If your marketing does not produce consistency in leads, then you need to reevaluate, are you paying for something that actually is producing an ROI?
Right.
But if you're not ranking in AI, you're going to get left in the dust pretty quick.
Yep. And with that hopeful note, we're going to leave you guys there. Don't get left in the dust. Hey, but there's a lot of good stuff we talked about today that I think is actionable in terms of your website, and hopefully provided some understanding and some value in terms of how this AI evolution is affecting the marketing space. And we'd love to talk with you more about this. So you can always go to talktotpm.com, grab a call with us, and go over what's happening for you and your firm. And if you want to grow, that's what we're here for.